You're listening to the Beyond the Prophy podcast, where we help you out of career burnout so that you can reclaim your personal freedom while pursuing your passion. I'm your host, Jasmine Haley, entrepreneur, influencer, and educator that will help empower you with our interviews, strategies, and straight talks. If you're ready to push past your comfort zone to your greatness, you have found the right podcast. Stay tuned and listen in. Hey, this is Jasmine, Beyond the Prophy podcast. I have a guest today. Her name is Lynne Leggett, and she is the founder of the Victory Dental Management, LLC, Lead Your Team to Success. I met her through our connection with Do Life. Hey, Ann, we love you. But what really intrigued me was to hear about her history of being a basketball coach and how she's using that in the work she's doing with dental professionals. So first, thank you so much for being on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for asking me.
So, I didn't even know where to begin with the questions. Tell me first about your history with being a basketball coach. What led you into having that passion?
Oh, wow. Well, my life was really positively affected by the coaches that I had growing up playing basketball. And there came a time after 4 knee surgeries that I wasn't able to play anymore.
Wow.
And I just decided, okay, I want to coach because I want to still keep my foot in the game. And then I realized after the first team that I ever coached many years ago, and I won't say how many.
It was just 5 years ago.
Exactly, 5 years. That's it. I like that. I really like that. With that first team that I ever coached, it was a remarkable opportunity and gift that I was given to be able to help the next generation of girls being raised.
Yeah.
And the questions that they would feel comfortable asking me, the relationship that I could have with them and impact their life, that solidified. I love basketball. I can talk X's and O's all day long, but that's really not the reason why I coach. I coach so that I can impact lives.
Right.
And being able to help those young girls ever be on the right path or help them with, things down the road. And I'm still grateful enough to tell you today that I'm still in touch with a lot of the players that used to play for me. Wow. Because the impact that they allowed me to help them in their life. They didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
So it really is a two-way street of respect there.
Yeah. You often hear different stories just outside of dentistry. It doesn't even have to be in dentistry, where, people have stated, especially from some places in the inner city, where their coaches have saved their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And that sense of community really is necessary. We tend to forget, a lot of people think that, I can just do it on my own, I don't need anybody's help, and blah, blah, blah. But community is everything.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what, being in a team, athletic-wise, can do for you. But it's actually what we need to be considering with our own dental practices. And I think that's so unique that you've taken that history and then you're now created a program to help dental practices.
And it is a unique situation because a lot of dentists, they weren't taught any of this in dental school. And,
right.
And we got to give them a break because they didn't get a business background or leadership and different things. And quite honestly, it bothers me when a lot of different people say, doctor, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong. And nobody wants to be told that they're doing something wrong. You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So that's one thing that I want to be able to help other doctors with is if they have a team, then if they truly have a true team, they wouldn't have some of the problems that they're coming to me, talking to me about. So a lot of times doctors will bring me into their practices to talk to them about how do we get better systems and efficient processes and how do I increase my profitability and different things like that. And once I walk in and I realize, we're going to cover all of these things, doctor, but we need to take a couple steps back and let's create a team from the employees you currently have. Because I think just the word team is thrown around so much that they assume that's what they have and they really don't. And that's where I like to start with my clients, to be able to create that team from their employees. And then we'll go on to the more, business of dentistry.
So you get into the root.
Absolutely.
You're getting to the root. So what would you say is the biggest hurdle to creating a true team approach in dentistry? Particularly, is there something unique about us compared to others?
I guess
or is it just a human nature thing?
there's a lot of human nature, obviously, that you have to deal with. But at the same time, the doctor needs to get to the place where they say, you know what, I can't do it all. And they're so used to, if you think about what they go through in dental school, they're so used to the world being on their shoulders. And they're thinking, I've got to know all the answers to everything. Well, no, you don't. Yes. It's okay to ask for help. I guess that's the first thing, is having a doctor get to their mindset to say, I can't do it by myself. Yeah. I need help. You know, who can I look for a resource? And I'll be honest with you, I may not be the best person for them to work with, but I have so many other colleagues in different areas that I'll find somebody that will work with their personality. If we don't click, that's okay. It's more important to me that they reach out and they ask for help, and I'll get them with somebody that can help them. That's not a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the way it should be.
Yeah,
that's exactly the way
you
it should
would think.
I mean, it should be. It really should. I mean, and that's what that just for me, when I think about the clients that I've worked with, and I'm typically focusing on professionals that burn out, just trying to achieve their goals. They don't even know where to go with that. When I have a discovery call with individuals, I'm okay with referring them out and not knowing it's a good fit. But I find that not everyone is like that. And I often think, and I can get your opinion on this, where does that stem from? Is that fear of just never getting the opportunity to be able to provide services? Because I think that trickles down not just for us and what we're doing, but just also for practices and choosing the right fit for the employees that they hire, choosing, the right, correct systems that works with their, cultural philosophy for their office. I don't know. I'm just talking in circles a little bit here, but what do you think about that?
Well, I think it stems from you got to have that kind of a willing heart to be able to say you can't be everything to all people, and that's okay. And if you don't have that perspective and that mindset of looking at things that way, if your mindset is I want it all, and you're going to be greedy with that, I mean, I'll call it what it is.
Yeah.
Then you won't be doing yourself a favor as the consultant or coach. You're certainly not going to be benefiting the client if there's not a really good fit. And I'll share a story with you. I've had to let go of one client in my life, and I don't want to ever do that again. And I constantly think, what could I have done differently that situation couldn't have happened? Unfortunately, what I was being told was not what I saw when I went on site. It was actually the antithesis of that. And I just decided from a personal integrity standpoint, I can no longer work with this individual. So I severed the relationship, and I found somebody else for him, and everything was fine. But I really go through, you mentioned the discovery call, I have something very similar to that, because I would rather spend more time on the front end, understanding the needs of the doctor and what they're actually looking for, and understanding their pain points before we go any further.
Absolutely.
Because I think that's where anything like that should be able to be fleshed out. And if one call isn't enough, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's more important for me to make sure that I make a positive impact in somebody's life, because I'm confident in what I do, but I want to make sure I'm doing it with the right person.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they need to be open to me, and it needs to be a really great relationship back and forth. And that's going to take some time, and that's going to be what I think is the basis of it is trust. They've got to be able to trust me, and I've got to be able to trust them, and that's okay.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. And it just, as you were speaking, I was actively listening, but as you were speaking, I just thought about, values that we establish, the core values that we establish for ourselves personally, and how important it is to maintain it in our business as well. And I can see that that's important for you. Obviously.
That's one of the things that talking with doctors in the beginning, some of them don't even know what their core values are.
Yeah.
And they've never heard of having a mission or a vision statement. And I do those things differently than most people because my background hasn't always been in dentistry, which I think is a plus.
Yeah.
So I take things from what I've been in the medical and pharmaceutical, as well as transportation and logistics, all of those different industries coming in back into dentistry. And how do you take those pieces and and make sure that the vision of what the doctor wants, we're able to do that. Because one thing as a past project manager, I love taking the whole and breaking it into pieces. And if you don't have that ability to be able to see how everything relates to the bigger picture, I think that's really something that's a unique proposition of me working with clients, for them to understand that I got to see all of you, and then let's put it into different parts and pieces.
Right, absolutely. So I'm taking a look at some of the stuff that you offer here. Not only are you the founder and CEO, you coach and consult, but you also speak. And you talk about building a winning team. And I'm telling you, I'm going to be completely frank here.
All right, bring it on.
This is the problem with most offices.
Yes.
And this is the reason why we have so many dental professionals that want to hightail it out of dentistry, because there's so many toxic environments that they're coming into.
Yep.
I mean, where do people even start? Like, what would you say, just from your experience and the teams that you've dealt with, just one tip that you would give, or one strategy you would give in order to build an effective team, a true team?
For a true team, you really must have a leader, which in this case is going to be the doctor owner, to be able to say, this is what I expect of my team. And sometimes what they envision and expect has never really truly been verbalized to the team or to the employees. So that really is the first step.
Yep.
People assume this stuff, and it never ceases to amaze me. Why are you assuming somebody can read your mind, doctor?
And I can't tell you. I've been in so many offices like that.
It's amazing.
I have no clue. I honestly don't know. Wow.
But that's where it starts. You know, if the team doesn't know what the doctor wants, or if they think they do, or they're reactionary, you know, they want to put out fires instead of create it. I'd rather take a step back and go, all right, and this, I'm just making a sports reference, obviously. I want my clients to play offense instead of defense. I want you to be proactive in what you want to do, not reactive and play defense. We can do that, but I'd rather you determine what you want to do, and then let's build on that success one step at a time, so that we can get you to the final, whatever that dream is for you. That's what I want, because everybody has a different definition of success.
That is
true.
It
may be monetary, it may not be monetary. And maybe I have a lot of clients that say, you know what, Lynn, I want to be more profitable so that I can do more pro bono work, or I can do more missions, or whatever the case may be. Well, let's get there. Let's talk about what this means. And some of the times, doctors just don't know how to verbalize or even be asked the right questions at the right time to come up with the answers. Yeah. And until I know what they want, they're floundering. Yeah. And floundering's very difficult. Treading water is hard.
Woo.
So hard. And I want their lives to be easier. And at the core of what I really do is problem solve on a lot of different levels, a lot of different aspects.
So what moved you to dentistry? I'm curious.
Oh, well, I was very unorthodox beginning in dentistry. My best friend, her husband is a general dentist, and she said, you gotta run the practice for me, because I can't work with them on a day-to-day basis. We'll end up getting divorced, is exactly what happened. So I said, all right, I tell you what. And the doctor and I sat down. I said, listen, I realize your wife is my best friend, but I'll teach you business, you teach me dentistry. Because business is business. It
That's
just
true.
has a different vocabulary within the dental world.
Yes.
And after running pharmacies and medical practices, it's just another vocabulary.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, on a personal note, my mom and dad were so happy that I could use my 5 years of Latin in something. Because you think about dental root words, that's where it's a lot of Latin.
Yes.
So I was catching on, quicker than I think the dentist thought I was going to catch on.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So,
Very cool.
and at the end of the day, the dental industry, I love working with people that want to help others.
Yeah.
And you don't get into dentistry if you don't want to help others.
That
you
is
just,
true.
I haven't met anybody. Exactly.
They will not last. Even if they came in there, they won't last.
I haven't met anybody that's not what their response was.
Yeah.
So I love that. I absolutely, I don't love that, I adore that about the dental industry.
Yeah.
And also with everybody that works in the dental practice, hygienists, assistants, on the admin team, everybody. I mean, they're there to help others, really there to serve others.
Yeah. I think as service providers, we're in a unique position, and we often tend to not look at, we only consider the treatment that we're putting out, which is why we need people like you, Lynn, to remind us, or even like this podcast, to remind us that, hey, there's some there's some outlying foundational stuff that we've got to put into place so that we can continue to serve others.
Absolutely.
I think, when we go into our professional settings and our professional schooling and stuff like that, we're so used to, providing treatment. But there is, like you said, business is business. There's a business side that we need to deal with. There's also our personal side, because I think a lot of us are walking around not taking care of the person within, which makes it a little bit difficult, too, to even deal with business side of things and just continue to provide the best services for our community. So.
You've got to find what fills you to be able to help other people.
Yeah.
And that's where, if you really have a true team that you're working with in the practice, because let's face it, during our waking hours, we spend more time with the people that we work with than we do at home.
That is so true.
And you would really like to like them. You would like to have some joy and happiness in what you do on a daily basis. So why not have that environment? That's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Happiness is not something to be, avoided.
Yeah.
It's just an extra.
Yeah.
And it's something that can occur.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let me ask you, I ask this question to every single person that comes on the podcast. What was the best career advice you've been given, or it could even be personal advice you've ever been given?
When I got into dentistry, the best advice that I was ever given, especially as a speaker and a coach and consultant, to diversify who I am compared to everybody else, was you've got to, appreciate your unique gifts. And it took me a while to go, how am I unique compared to everybody else? And they're wonderful people out there. They're fabulous colleagues of mine. But how do I differentiate from other people? And I just said, I've got to be me. And so the basketball was an obvious choice.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody else out there that's coached basketball and that speaks on teams and does the things in the dental field that I do. And so I just love that aspect.
Yeah.
So that does differentiate me. I know you're looking at my brochure and seeing all the pictures and basketballs and stuff, but it's something also, just because it's my passion, it doesn't mean that all of my clients are sports enthusiasts of different sports. It's just I'm very big in creating a visual representation to a doctor of what does a coach do. I love teaching dentists how to coach their teams because it's not harsh. I mean, it's leadership, but at the end of the day, everybody knows what a coach does.
Yeah.
Whether you participated in sports, your kids, whatever, everybody knows what a coach is. They just don't know the steps of what it takes to be one.
Yes.
And having that self-authenticity of being able to teach others how to do that, because I believe that we train dogs and we teach people. Words matter, and it's completely different. But it's those things that doctors need and that I'm able to do. And I found my place. Let's say that. I love
that.
where I'm at.
And when I first met you, which was like a few hours ago, when you said basketball coach, immediately it was like, bing, wow. And so I just love what you're doing. I love it. I love how you've been able to take what's in your toolbox, because I talk about that often.
Yep.
And those sometimes our answers for what we should be doing has been experiences we've had in the past, and you just never know how it's going to shape your future, which is the same that's happened to me. So.
Yep, absolutely. And that's what you podcast all about, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got experience right in that particular area.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so tell the listeners how they can contact you and find out more information about you.
Best thing is to go to my website, which is victorydentalmanagement.com, all spelled out, victorydentalmanagement.com.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Of course.
Thanks for tuning in to the show. We value each and every one of you. Dive in deeper by visiting the show notes for this episode or listening to more episodes on beyondtheprophy.com. If you found value in the show, share with a friend and leave us a review. We will see you next time, BTP family.